Hello, everybody. I am Tiffani.
What's up? This is Ariel.
And you are now listening to Grab Your Cup.
Yes, ma'am. So, this is going to be the very first episode. The intro. Hey, I'm so nervous. I said to Tiffany, I was like, yeah, this must be what Cardi B felt like when she was in the
Has to be. Has to be. Like, none of you all see us, but we're really nervous right now.
But don't worry. We'll figure it
out. So, we felt like it's important. You're pressing play. You see the name, Grab Your Cup. And you're like, what is this about? Who are these people? And we're going to tell you exactly
what we're doing here, how we got here, and what you can expect from us.
So basically, how we got here is like a 2-part story.
Definitely.
And Ariel and I have known each other since 2014. We met in a online Facebook group.
That's even funnier. Right? Just say it out loud.
We weren't dating. We just met each other.
Yes, please put that out there. It was not a date. What? Wasn't it?
I mean, we love each other. So
look, it initially was not a date.
Right.
But you know how them Facebook groups turn out.
Listen. We'll get there.
It's too much on the first day.
But we met each other, and so I came into the group, and it was like an instant connection. Like, you can see, like, if you kind of, anybody who's ever been in, like, online groups or even, like, group meet chats, I've never done those, but I've heard about them. Like, when you're continuously in communication with people, you kind of get a feel on, like, how they think, how they answer to things, like, how they talk. You kind of, like, build this your version of understanding them. And I saw her instantly. I was like, this is a woman. Like, I love her. She's my wife. I claim her.
And what's so funny is, like, in those Facebook groups, you definitely, like, as witty and as sharp as you can be. Right. And, like, you'll write something, you be like, nah, that ain't funny enough. And you'll delete it, and then you be like, this right here is a gem. And you'll drop it, and it'd be like, cool.
Right, because you got all the time for edits. Like, you get to be your best self.
Absolutely.
Online.
You don't even know how funny I am, but let me show you how funny and witty I really am.
Especially, like, when you see something you know you're going to comment to.
Oh, absolutely.
So you wait, and you're like, I'll be back.
Because I want to get it some time. Because I got time.
I got to set it up. And then you go back and scan. Nope, nobody topped me. I'm ready.
Like, we in the ring. Bring that bell. Let's go. I got to work.
So so there will be, like, outings and different opportunities for us to see each other. And we had, like, this instant kind of bond. Like, that sounds cheesy, but it's real. Right. Like, you meet people sometimes, and, like, we would meet people from the group, and you'll see people like, oh hey, but we would, like, get excited like grammar school friends. Like, what? You're here? Like,
and you give them a hug, and you'll be like, oh, because it's so crazy how you'll spend so many hours online. Because let's just be honest, it was hours. You spend hours online chatting back and forth, but you don't really physically see this person.
No.
And then when you do see them, it's like it all comes together.
Right.
It's
like, oh, you're here. Hey.
Like, I didn't just talk to you
right.
for 10 minutes on
we definitely just shared all our thoughts online. But you're here. Right. So 2014. So through this journey, we had, like, individual spin-offs of conversation. I remember, like, individual inboxes we would have. Like, we began to talk, but it, like, didn't stay consistent. We didn't maintain it, but it was like, girl. And now that I'm thinking about it, it was always organic. Like, we did talk like that all the time because it was never weird, and it never felt weird to not talk.
Forced or awkward.
Right. Like, the presence of it or the absence never was like, what? She's not talking to me now? It was just like, oh, okay, I'm not talking. Like, it was just normal.
And then when you did talk, it's like, hey. And then you just play catch up. And I think we talk about that a lot about, when me and her have had conversations about what real friendship looks like. Mm-hmm. It should always just be easy. it should never be so, oh my God, it's been 2 days and I haven't talked to such and such. Let
Right.
me catch up real quick before she gets upset with me. It's like if me and her didn't talk, or if we commented or liked something on Facebook, that was enough.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't enough. It was enough.
enough.
And then whatever we did extra after that was just like a cherry on top. Like,
exactly. So, when I came in the group single and a single mom. And fast forward now, I am a mom of 2 because things happened.
And they keep happening. Don't stop, baby. Do not stop.
Because things happen, and I'm now a mom of 2, and I am not single.
And I came into the group a single mom of 1. Hey, I'm a single mom of 1 now. Hey, y'all, but there was so much in between there.
Right, revelation.
And listen, came back full circle. Listen.
I know it's crazy when you say it out loud, right?
You say it out loud, like I wasn't, but then I was. Listen, y'all gonna get fearful, but look,
we're gonna get into.
I am full circle back to where I started from, but I am not the same person that I was.
Not at all.
I'm completely different. It's so crazy how life 4 years. What 4 years can turn into, man. So
we would keep communication and conversation, and we had a couple like individual meetups, and we like made the time and would like meet for lunch, and then remember when I was pregnant and I was supposed to come to your party, and then we linked up for that. So we like had these like individual link ups that like she just described, like it just always was enough, and it never like I probably felt bad more than like when I couldn't like meet an obligation, because she had like 2 dope parties that I continuously missed because I was trash, I guess.
Just so y'all know, I throw really dope parties. I like adult functions, and I don't think that adult functions happen enough, so I try to be a part of adult functions, but
we agree.
I know she didn't get to make it to any of them, but we always made up for them, personally.
Right.
We would meet up and talk for hours, and that was another thing. Like whenever we did meet up, like we would have life we had to do, but we would literally be like, life can wait for another hour.
Right, be like, I'm supposed to be somewhere, but
don't worry about it. I got another hour. Let's finish.
We're gonna figure out. It's so good. And so this like disconnect but connected relationship that we had kind of led us to how we met each other, how we developed friendship, and then ultimately the next part that gets us to why we're here talking to you together.
So then the second part was definitely my journey. So life's happening. You guys will hear more details about it, but life happens for me, and then I am given an assignment, and my assignment was to embark on this journey with these 10 phenomenal women that I have in my life that you guys want to hear about. And Tiffany is one of my 10. And she was given to me in an assignment. And clearly I had no idea what was happening, why that was a thing, because like we've described, it wasn't a consistent thing. So I'm like, why her? What is happening? And I was just obedient. And I was like, okay, I'm going to listen and I'm going to do what I'm told. And I came to her and I was like, so this might sound crazy, but you're supposed to be part of this. And she's like, definitely doesn't sound crazy. And I need it. And
I'm here for it.
All of it. She was like, so what needs to happen? What do I need to do? And
right.
It was like immediate. Like it went from talking every once in a while to talking every day. All the time. Texting, inboxing, phone calls.
Hanging out, sending inboxes.
Absolutely, because we weren't done. I had more to say. Video chats, like it was like, and then I was given the privilege of introducing all of these 10 women who in theory didn't really know each other to like a community basically, and the community blossomed and what we have transitioned and turned into since then is like undescribable, and which got us to this point because we realized through conversations and dealing with each other that this doesn't happen enough. This is something that we need everybody else to hear, and for me, you know, talking is my therapy. So, and there was a point where I was just recording myself talking on videos, and I wasn't interested in putting them on YouTube yet because they were personal. And then I'm talking to Tiffany, and one day we were just like, you know, we have really dope conversations.
Amazing.
Somebody else needs to hear this. And I was like, you think so? And she was like, yeah. So then a little while after that, she called me and was like, what you think about doing a podcast?
So the crazy thing is, about maybe a year before, like 2014, 2013, I thought of doing a podcast, and I've like been sitting on it for a while, and I'm kind of like, this will be good. And just I value time and conversation so much, so like I have these conversations and I sit back like, this needs to be shared. And it could be with Ariel, it can be with some of my other friends, it might be about music, it might be about life. And I kind of like knew I wanted to do a podcast. And then when we've landed here to this year, it like came full circle of why I hadn't started the podcast yet.
Right. Because
it wasn't time. It wasn't that wasn't what I thought, wasn't the lunch. Wasn't the purpose, and it wasn't. It's a part of who I am now that is supposed to be a part of what I have to share. So like in me understanding that now, I'm like, wow.
And let's not even forget about all the stuff that happened within those 4 years for this conversation. Like, these conversations would not be what I know what I got to say would not be what I have to say if it had been before these 4 years happened. Because baby, when I tell you,
we were not our best selves.
No, let me tell you, when I tell you, I got bars for people. I got bars, and I didn't have no time for it. It was, when you look back at yourself and not being the best version of yourself, like, you can't be ashamed of it. You gotta embrace it and realize that everything happens for a reason. Like, we were just talking about one of our other friends, and it's coincidence. It's not a thing. Everything happens for a reason. You know, she was in that Facebook group. We gravitated to each other. I kept contact. She kept contact. You know, she was sending me an assignment. Like, all of these things happened for a reason. It wasn't coincidence. All the tumultuous times in our relationships, honey. You talk about.
And it's crazy because if we indulge a little bit, like, and not too deep of why I was there, but when she embarked on her spiritual journey and I was one of her assignments, she was not necessarily aware of where I was,
right,
personally, and how tapped out and disconnected I was due to what was happening personally in my life. And that introduction to us the increase in communication came from her sending me a sermon of our homegirl, because she's our homegirl.
She don't even know we best friends. Like, we went to school together, and my man, and we go have coffee and stuff. Like, she likes chai tea.
Yes, I see
all
that.
this stuff, y'all. I don't know her at all.
I can see that though.
Miss
Sarah Jakes Roberts. So
she's everything.
So she sent me a sermon, and it said, it was "Don't Settle for Safe" was the sermon. Now, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there were a couple inboxes we were having before you sent that where I was kind of saying, this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling, and you weren't having none of it. You was like, oh, okay. Okay, cool. Nah, I don't really receive that, but
if that's what you think is happening. But,
you know, baby girl, I believe something different, but okay.
Listen, Y'all, I'm the type of friend that's like, I'm gonna give you a day for this pity party. Like literally, you gonna get this one day, and then we gonna have to do work after that. Like all my friends will tell you, I'm all like, oh, we're crying, are we? Okay.
Here's some tissue.
Listen, ooh, let me rub your back. Yes. Okay. So
the exit plan to this. Where are your exit doors? The front, the back?
Like on the plane. They on the side, where they at? Where does the mask?
Because we gotta get out of this.
We gotta get out of this. So what you need? Tell me.
And so she sent me the sermon, and it took me about 3 or 4 days to unpack it because
Sarah will come snatch you. Okay,
listen,
that's what Sarah is, the truth, and she will definitely come and put you right together.
So yeah, like I heard about 5 minutes in, and I was like, "Oh, it's for me." Yep, it's got my name on it. She's talking to me. Okay, I'm not ready. Okay, so I came back and I listened to a little more until I listened to it all the way through, and then I was addicted. Then I replayed it, and I'm just bawling. I'm just in bed, like feeling nerves working that were dead, but a ball of mess. Like I feel again. She right. She is. Oh my God. Just having this whole personal cleansing and nourishing and rejuvenating of my spirit, and something that we're going to touch on later for why we felt this was important to do, that I felt when I saw that sermon, was I couldn't lie to myself like I was alone. I couldn't lie because a lot of what I was thinking and feeling, I was keeping in, I was holding in. I was in a huge era of shame in my life. I was ashamed of what I was feeling. I was ashamed of where I was. And so when I listened to that, it's like the voice came to me and was like, you're gonna have to stand on this. Like, because if you keep trying to act like you're not where you are, it's gonna suffocate you. Yeah. You're gonna bury in your feelings. You're gonna bury in your position of where you are. So, and my mom says to me all the time, because I like to write, and my mom says to me all the time, like, I don't know what God is using you for, but I know you got a testimony that's going to, somebody gonna need to hear.
Absolutely.
So I know when I said that, I'm like, I kind of felt selfish. Like when I had that awareness, I felt selfish, almost like, man, you've been making this about you, but what if part of where you are
is to help somebody else?
It's to help somebody else.
And that's exactly where I was, but nobody had any idea what I was going through.
Right.
Like nobody knew. Nobody was aware. Half the time I wasn't aware of what I was going through.
You just in it.
I was just there. I was in it, going
present
through it. And it was crazy because I was sending sermons, and it was kind of like I was reaching out to people. Like I was reaching out and telling them, like, I'm going through stuff too.
Without saying it.
This helped me. Yeah, definitely without saying it.
Because there was, listen, when that came to my inbox, there were no words before or after it.
I got nothing else. Just press play.
And I was like, what?
Because it said everything, and I was going through just as much as everybody else was, and I never said a word. Like, and the biggest lie I told myself every day was that I was okay. And the representation of myself to everybody was that I was okay. And then I would just swallow it. Like I would swallow the stress. I would swallow the pain, the misunderstanding, the confusion, the needs, the wants, everything that I didn't think made my picture look pretty. And it took some rough it took some rough stuff to get me to the point where I am now, where I can be completely transparent. Like these conversations that me and Tiffany have and that we're pretty much going to let you guys in on are important. These are important conversations that women need to have, and they go from being honest and transparent, and sometimes aggressive with each other, because you need that at times. And and sometimes you have to be soft and gentle with your friends because they're not in a position to push them, and then sometimes they need to be pushed. And we don't want to be that friend, or we don't have it in us to be that friend, or we too busy dealing with our own stuff. And I saw a meme that was like, a person who can help people through their toughest times while going through their own is a superhero.
Absolutely.
And you don't realize it when you're doing it. Like, she was going through her own stuff, and I was still able to come to her and lean on her and be like, Tiff, I'm struggling. And when I tell you she had bars for me, and you know how when your text messages go off and it be like, ding, ding, listen.
And another one. And another one.
That bell was, listen, it was ding, ding, ding. I was like, let me turn this notification off.
Because she's not done.
She's not done. I'm going to just wait till this stops stinging because she got bars.
I'll read it collectively. She's not done.
I'm going to read it as a whole because she's definitely...
She's still typing.
That bubble is still moving. Okay. I text the right one on this one. And it was just important that as a woman, because a lot of times we're not given this, and you tell me if you agree or not.
I definitely agree.
That you're not given a place to actually have these conversations. Like, how you have certain friends you can talk to about certain things, right? And it never dawned on me to have friends who I could talk to about everything.
Absolutely.
Like, it didn't dawn on me. Like, having separate friends that you could talk to about certain things made sense. It's like, oh, well, that's, I used to talk to her about that. I talked to her about that. Oh, well, this is the one I called about this, and this is the one I called about this. And in reality, you're actually like living a facade or fake life, because you're one way with one person and you're one way with another. And that was when I came to you and told you like how important I felt my circle was. Like, I got to do a shift. Like, it has to happen. I needed to shift and make sure that my circle was tight, because I needed the ability to be able to talk and communicate transparently and not be judged.
Absolutely.
And like get some honest, listen, I hear what you're saying, but the answer's no. And I'm like, well, you don't think no. And I'm, well, what about nope, not that either. So
I don't know if you remember, like, not long ago I said that to you, that it took me to see where I am, to see what I was doing to myself by compartmentalize myself in this way where, okay, well, I don't, like, I tell her the surface stuff. We talk about TV shows and like that stuff. And then this one, I could tell some relationship stuff too. Now this one, I could talk about what happens in my life, in my everyday, but I ain't gonna tell and it's insanity, because sometimes you're like stretching yourself in so many ways. What I'm learning by being on the journey of knowing myself better and loving myself better is you don't really fit if the whole me doesn't work for you.
Listen, say it one more time.
So
for the people that's not listening, she said, you don't really fit for me if the whole me don't fit. Listen,
it doesn't.
I can't give you pieces.
I can't do
not
it.
No more, not in the place I am in my life. This is all or nothing, baby. And that has to do with your friends and your relationships.
Yep.
If all of me don't fit,
it doesn't work.
No, thank you. It's a no for me. Hey, y'all, that's my thing. No, thank you. I would tell a person no, thank you in a minute.
You're going to hear it a lot.
You're going to hear no, thank you a lot from me. Like, no, thank you is it.
And so that, like, so this community, like she said, that was built through her journey of this 10, when I say remarkable, like, to date, I have never been in a setting, in a room that has felt so much love, so much understanding, no pressure. There's no one prying. There's no feeling of this person is like, oh, you being nosy. It's literally like an open invitation community. And I think if you could talk to any of us, that we're all slightly protective of, because like we're like, this us, like this,
you don't get to come in here.
You can't. This is not a free space. It's so much love being poured into each other. There's so much understanding being given. You're being heard. You're being listened to. And it's like just a relief. Like every time we've gathered collectively, it's almost like going somewhere that you know was designed just for you. Like this is like you can go and walk into other rooms, or like I can go and have a good time there, but like this whole moment is for me and for her too, and it works collectively together. And we recognize that there are things we're learning, there are things we have learned that I think both of us kind of, when we had certain ideas on this, thought maybe we weren't there yet, or maybe we weren't at the point to share this, or like we got some more work to do. Like, you know, maybe
I am working every day, girl.
And that's what we realized. It's very important to pull people into the journey, because part of where the misunderstanding comes is not feeling that who you are and where you are is enough.
Absolutely.
So when you're struggling to just be okay, as you said, or hide like I was doing, you don't really give yourself an opportunity to get the love you even deserve, because you're so busy trying to keep up a facade and appearance of what it should be, what it should look like.
Yes, that picture, like you think you know what that picture is supposed to look like. And the other part is that it's okay, you're not okay.
Yes.
Like I was like, you know, I'm supposed to look like this, I'm supposed to act like this, I'm supposed to talk like this, I'm supposed to behave like this, want to do certain things, and trying to fit into that box of what everybody else is telling you supposed to look like, and then what the picture that you painted yourself. Now you're trying to fit into everybody else's box and the box that you created yourself. Like you're driving yourself crazy. And I was definitely trying to drive myself crazy, being this amazing person and being that amazing person and being perfect. And there's no such thing as perfect. And when you're going through life trying to be perfect, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Like, be you. And that's perfect.
And here's the thing.
Made.
I was trying to meet expectations I had already failed. Which is crazy. Like, I was trying to, you know, you shouldn't be a mom, a single mom of 2 kids. This is where you are. You're here. That's what's happening. It's literally what's happening.
Listen, hey, why am I not married yet? What? Well,
but
you do know that today you woke up unmarried too, right?
It happened, and yesterday. And I'm gonna put my money on tomorrow. Like,
hey, I got $1.
It's happening. And the way you can, like, learning to pour into me in a continuous way, learning to grow my spiritual capacity, and learning to be honest with myself has made me I've become so aware of the mind tricks we play on ourselves. That's like not even anybody else.
It's just us.
Not anything.
Like, you're literally driving yourself crazy. And then want to look at everybody else and be like, why you do that? What?
Why don't you get it? You don't get it yourself.
How?
And I think we have shifted relationships with friends and mates and family.
Yeah.
And we have, by staying true and devoted, and listen, we don't have it all. We mess up. We have rough days. We got days we slip off the path and get back. But I can collectively say that I do believe that Ariel and I have committed to the journey of being the best us. And I know this year, as we were going through some of our storms, which you're going to later discover what those were.
The enemy is real, people. He's out here and don't sleep.
I said to her, I think we have to be dope on purpose.
Absolutely.
Like, and here's the thing, like, we weren't our best self. We weren't completely trash people. We had trash habits that we didn't want to be accountable for. Yeah, like that we didn't want to be accountable for. It was like, That's what I do. This is me.
It's just the way I am right now.
Whatever. But the accountability of not only recognizing those things and changing those things, but committing to, no matter what's coming on this journey, that we're being in tune of what's best for us and what's the best decision for us and what puts us in a best place. I would think you would agree it's a completely different experience than the way I was living prior, where almost I was surviving things, and storms happened and I survived, and I got over that, and I'm gonna bounce back, or maybe I don't. But now I'm walking continuously through the journey, through the storms too. I'm walking now. I'm not just getting twisted around and then I'm here. I'm walking through the journey. I'm taking the steps. I'm pacing myself. I'm running and then realizing I needed to walk. I'm taking the highs and the lows, but there's so much intention in it.
Definitely. I know for sure I'm moving in purpose now.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't even know what that meant. Like, to move in purpose. Like, I don't even know what was purpose. Like, this is my purpose. Like,
I'm here. I woke up.
Like, my purpose in life is what I'm doing.
I'm a mom.
Answer. Right. And listen, I'm kind of a dope mom. And to me, like, that must be my purpose. And when you dig deep and figure out what purpose really means and what your purpose is, because I mean, there's still people out here who haven't figured out their purpose. I mean, luckily for me, mine was shown to me, but there's some people out here still trying to figure out their purpose, and it could be because they are in a state of positioning, and so that when your purpose does show itself to you, you are ready to get out there and run. Because if my positioning had not happened and my purpose was shown to me, I would not have known what to do with it. I'd have been like, that's cute. Oh, look. Oh,
you think I'm supposed to do that?
That's cute. Yeah, I'm gonna go get some tacos
because that's always the way.
ain't never an argument ever continued with some tacos around. Okay,
right.
So I just knew that there was no way that I could continue the way I was going and my purpose be fulfilled. Like, and it took me a long time to get to my purpose, girl. Some ups and downs, trials, tribulations, anxiety, depression, insecurities, like worthiness. Like, I definitely felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like I was beneath. I felt like I wasn't enough for anything. And when you get to the point where you are questioning your self-worth and your worthiness, you'll never be able to fulfill purpose ever. Like, it goes hand in hand, and you have to know that you are worthy of all the things that are promised to you. And I felt like one nothing promised to me. Let's start there. And then two, you can possibly think that I am capable of doing what it is that you have assigned me to do.
Right.
You can. This is not my assignment. Did you skip the right person and fall? And no, this was for me. Okay, why?
Definitely. I mean, I've always been timid, and I don't even say shy. I've just always been comfortable playing background. That's always the kind of position. Like, I don't need the credit. I'll work behind the scenes. And some of that feeds into personal insecurities, and some of that is comfortability, because it's a little uncomfortable when it's all eyes on you. But nothing that's put in me and on my plate requires me to be background. And this is so funny because I definitely always wanted to be in the front. That's funny.
Listen, my personality is like, look at me, I'm here, come over here.
And then now you're like, what?
I'm like, let me go ahead and put this hoodie on real quick.
You want to talk to me?
No, not me. Let me go ahead and sit in the corner and direct you to the people you need to be talking to, type thing. But that's why we felt that grab your cup was important. And well, let's just talk about grab your cup for a second. Like, trying to figure out, so what is this?
So when we talk, we always talk about how we walk away from conversation with our cup filled.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I might have had, struggle with my with my kids. I might have gone to work and it wasn't the best place for me to be that day, and just my cup is just shaking. I'm holding it, but it's just shaking, and things are spilling out. And we organically, when we talk to each other, just kind of have some of that poured in. It's just so fulfilling and natural. Like, the conversation ranges from seriousness to fluff, and still we walk away feeling a little better than before we got on that phone with each other.
What she talking about? My cup don't be like swishing around. That bad boy be dry and everything. I'm so thirsty. I'm so thirsty. My cup be dry, y'all. I call her like, listen, I got nothing to give. So I'm gonna need you to hit me up with some words of encouragement, because this girl is about to put her phone on airplane mode. And I'm gonna be no good for the next 24 hours because I am not okay today.
Like, but then, while talking, I think you can see you had a little more to give than you thought.
Yeah,
like,
because that's the reality of it. But
right,
my mind,
right,
my brain is telling me you are doing terrible today.
Right,
and that's the insecurities that like, we was doing good,
and
now
you go
here shifting again, disappointing us, and blah blah
just
blah.
Can't keep it together, girl.
And then I'm like, I'm doing terrible today. Didn't I talk to Tiffany?
And I'm like, lies.
All the lies.
Ooh.
And I'm like,
who's terrible? Girl, do you need... Let me go. Hold on. I got a notebook page for how amazing you are. Hold on. Let me go turn.
Bars to you real quick.
Now, do you want the revision? Because I got edits, or you want the one I told you before? Okay.
And I got pictures. She come with pictures. I'll be like, come on and hit me up with another one.
Insert exhibit A.
Exactly. And I'll be like,
okay.
She knew what I needed today.
But I think, so we knew in talking and grabbing listeners in the ear and having these honest conversations, that it's our hope to share that same feeling when you listen to us, that you get your cup filled. So, like, sometimes we don't even know the importance of why we need our cup filled. And I think that's why we knew this was a good idea to have some of these conversations recorded and shared, because we're all struggling to make better choices every day. And a lot of us are not being honest about how we are allowing poor habits, just because they're there, to shift the type of life we're living.
Absolutely.
And how happy we are. And I think both of us, so I'm just going to say this. I kind of noticed this the other day. I didn't share this with you.
Lord.
I don't curse the same way.
Hey, you're welcome.
And so when this started, she would say that, like, I just don't curse anymore. And I'm like, oh, that's cute for you.
Listen, y'all, December, I woke up and I didn't curse no more. Now, let me just give y'all some little tidbit. I am a raunchy, ignorant sailor, okay? I'm talking. With these bars I got, come fire. Mm-hmm. And these fire come with F words and B words and all types of no you didn't, right? And then I just woke up one day and I was just like, I can't curse no more. Like, it would not flow. Listen, and sometimes, like, if I get super duper duper angry, like, they'll spill out. Right. And I feel so bad. Like, and it's dirty. And then I have to, like, be like, I'm sorry. Like,
so the times I have, like, I'm saying it's not a part of my regular conversation anymore. Like, and then when I noticed it.
Right.
And I never noticed.
You never noticed it before because it was part of your, it's like saying the. When you, because every curse word I said was like saying the. It is, at, like, it was just part of the sentence. It held it together. And then I realized, I was like, what?
Listen, I was talking to my boyfriend and I was talking about something. And I'm like, what the F? And then I was like, why did you say that? Like, why are you so aggressive right now?
Exactly.
Calm down. What are you?
And I was like, I definitely could have said that without using that
Always,
curse word.
definitely.
So all my friends. So listen, y'all. When I stopped cursing, like whenever I came around people and they cursed, they would apologize. I mean, I'm sorry, and I'm like, I don't curse. You can still curse, but then when people see you not cursing, like it rubs off on them. So then you realize how powerful you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't realize how powerful, like just that small thing. But the reason is because if you're so used to pouring out such positivity,
absolutely,
that word is a negative.
It doesn't work.
When you try to put that word with such positivity, it just don't fit and it feel dirty.
and that's ultimately why. And I want it to be clear, like we're not condemning. We're not placing an expectation on what being the best you is supposed to look like, but
that just wasn't for me. Like, and here's the thing, like people have been telling me for years, like you curse too much. And I was all like, oh, okay, well, you know how to prevent that from happening? You don't talk to me. Like, you won't hear none of these
quick solution.
Fixed it. You're welcome. But like, it wasn't that I had a problem. I still don't have a problem with it. It's just something that happened to me. Like literally, it just happened one day, and I can't reverse it now.
But that ultimately, I think, is why. Like, because I'm just overall more accountable for my actions. That now, where that was just a part of my dialogue and what it was, and I was used to it. I'm accountable. I'm making efforts all the time to be accountable for what I say, accountable for what I do. Yep. And so now it feels forced. And so I think we want to give people the opportunity to be honest, to one, get their cup filled, to know you're not alone, and that might be what you needed in your cup. You might be telling yourself that the things you're feeling are just you, and be where I was and hiding and kind of trying to run from your reality instead of dealing with it. And how important it is to hear women coming from a loving space that understand, who've been there, still there.
Because I can't judge now. No, Lord, listen, y'all don't even you don't even understand what I got going on over here. When y'all hear her, you gonna be like, she what?
What?
Huh?
Who are you?
Yeah, I get
that. So we felt it was important that we shared it and kind of created a space where you can tune in, where maybe you had a rough day, maybe you talked to one of your friends and they got on your nerves that day too, and maybe you just kind of need a better place to go.
Hey, real talk, sometimes you'll talk to your friends and you'll realize that the space that you in, they should not be your friend. Like, sometimes you ever have a conversation with somebody, like in the middle of them talking, you just look at them and go,
nope.
Literally, you go, no,
thank you.
It's a no for me. No, thank you. And then you just realize, like, and listen,
no good reason.
There's no condemning that person, because maybe that is the best version of her for her.
Absolutely.
It just ain't the best version for you.
Nope.
And that is, and I had to learn that.
Yes.
Like me putting myself first is not putting you down.
Nope.
And I always felt like, well, I can't turn that's what it felt like. I was turning my back on
Absolutely.
them. And I'm not turning my back on anybody, because I don't wish you ill. Like, I don't want to like talk about you afterwards. Like, I got nothing. I don't want to talk down about you. I just want to be around something different.
Absolutely.
And you can't give it to me, and I need to go where I can get it. Because sometimes you talk to friends, and if it's not popular in society, if it's not popular on social media, and if it's not popular with your family, if your thoughts, because a lot of my thoughts that I have now are not popular with the female community. A lot of thoughts that I have are not popular in society. There are select few people who do agree with how I think, but then there are people who are like, what?
Well, we've had this conversation often. We've noticed that women have a need to have a space to be welcome, to be loved, to be poured into. It's a need for it, but can sometimes be the most rejecting to it, because there are assumptions. You're so guarded about that part of yourself, and you maybe have been just kind of like, you've poured into someone, you thought they were your friend, and now you don't trust being honest, or you've been in spaces that that you have told yourself, like, I have to protect myself, this isn't really for me. And so positivity gets seen as negative. Like, if you're too positive, you're not real. That's got to be fake. And we have that conversation all the time. I don't know where y'all live,
but this is real. Like, and you know what the other thing is? Because I used to be this person. I don't want to be friends.
Yes.
The ones I got is the ones I got. And I was not interested in females, period.
Right.
Like, hey, crazy, listen, we have no problem taking a new man. We'll take a new dude as a friend or anything else. But if a new female try to show, girl, don't let me get a friend request on Facebook from some female I don't know. Who sent you? How you get here? Like, how did you make it to my page to send me? I don't do new friends. I don't do new female friends.
Right.
And then I realized, like, that could be why you where you at. Because if you had the right team, if your squad was hitting,
right,
maybe you wouldn't be doing, being, acting, behaving, or thinking the way that you think. And then I realized maybe I do need to embrace, a different type of friendship. Maybe I do need to embrace a different type of female, because a lot of times we've had friends from grammar school or high school or your first job, and that person has evolved, but not the way you have.
Right.
And sometimes they've evolved and you haven't evolved the way that they have.
Right.
So maybe they're far, ahead of you and you still back here. Or maybe you far ahead of them and they still back here. And that's not condemning their journey, because everybody's journey is different. But if I'm on my journey, I can't stop on my path to wait till you catch up to me. I got to keep going. I got no problem looking back there and making sure that you still okay. But I can't stop walking.
Absolutely.
I have to keep walking. And sometimes while you walking, like, is somebody on that path with you and they moving at the same pace as you, and you need to just go ahead and say, okay, I can do like a new 1 or 5 new friends.
I think you have to be honest of what I've noticed is that I did, and a lot of people I know lie to themselves about what's disrupting their journey. They create excuses and allowances for things that are actually really disruptive to everything they want. So for me, I'll say this year specifically, I've been accustomed to running. I'll run. I don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to feel it. I want to get away from it. And this year was let me tell you, I don't want to be back here. So we got to go about this all different. Okay. I got to surrender. I got to put my hands up. I don't know what it's going to take, but let me tell you, I'm not repeating. So where we going?
Not one of these. I'm not repeating not one of these, because listen, the only time you gotta repeat is if you didn't learn it.
If you didn't learn it.
I got a notebook. I'm over here. I got a journal. I got a notebook. I'm taking notes on my phone. I'm over here Googling stuff. Like, I'm learning this lesson. I've been on YouTube looking up. like,
what do I
need to do so I don't repeat this?
Right.
Figure it out.
So for me, I struggled with trying to meet the demands of what people around me needed from me, the version of me that was needed. So that was a certain regime in communication. Well, you talk to this person usually every morning, you usually talk to them every night. This person usually, even when you are super busy, you'll answer the phone and be like, hey, I'm gonna call you back. I had a normal rapport, and I found myself in a space where I could not prioritize anybody else over me. I had to do what I had to do that was going to be good and beneficial to me, even if it was misunderstood. And so I never really had I don't want any new friends. I always had like a strong core, and I felt good about my strong core. But what I would do is that I would think, when I allow relationship with new people, mate or friends, I made it a reflection of me more than be accountable of what I let in. Oh, I'm being kind. Right. Even if they're doing things that's not really that great or nice, well, it's up to me to be a kind person. So I'm going to be kind to them. I'm going to be nice to them, because that's my job. It's not my job to judge them and who they are. And where I am today, recognizes what you were saying is that I don't have to feel bad about doing what's best for me. It is literally millions, billions, trillions of people in this world, right? I am not a bad person if I cannot talk to someone who challenges my growth. And sometimes we don't see it as challenge my growth. But if I'm going to talk, if you know my life, you know everything I got going on. I know she's got a family. I know she's doing these things with her career. She has like projects she's trying to get going. She's this type of person. She's on a spiritual journey. Like, you know everything that I am. And I tell you, oh, I'm about to, no, I can't go there because I was going to read this book tonight. Like, I've been putting it off. Like, I might meet with you later. And that's offensive to you. We have to recognize that that's a disturbance. Now, I don't have a problem that you don't value it, because that's up to me. But if you have things or people that constantly serve as distractions or conflicts to decisions you've already made for yourself that's good, you have to be aware of it. And I think sometimes that's what we don't do, which is why we don't know how to filter who's pouring into your cup, that's going to be a whole nother conversation. But why this cup is important, why we feel this is important, is because we're not always being honest even about why nothing's pouring in your cup.
Absolutely.
And being accountable that it's a certain reason I'm just unhappy. I just haven't watched TV all this year, like that, period. But
me too. But that's what happens when you're doing your growth and development.
Right, but I cannot watch over and over even like the Braxton's Family Values have certain type of drama and stuff, because of course they're gonna set it up this way. But like, I can't watch Basketball Wives Love It. Like, I can't follow that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see, yeah, I can see a clip and be like, what happened? But I can't tune in weekly for that. I'm not in this, because listen, and what people don't acknowledge, that don't have nothing to do with my regular life. More than you think.
Yeah.
More than you think. When you're sitting there and you're alone with your thoughts, battling depression, battling negativity, and you've been feeding yourself all of that mess.
But even more, when you are trying to reprogram your thought process.
Yes.
You cannot reprogram your thought process with the same thoughts.
Yes.
Or the same visions or the same actions. Like, literally, you are trying to change who you are and do the exact same things over, or you're trying to understand why the way you think is the way you think. It's because you're pouring those things into your head. And I will be the first one to say, like, that would be my guilty pleasure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely call it my guilty pleasure. And
big deal.
And I feel like, in moderation, just like anything else, it could be in moderation. But when you are, just like with the cursing thing, you are in a different space, that type of stuff you don't even want in moderation. And I'm not talking about those shows. Let me tell you, I just caught up on these Braxtons with Ayana, and I was like, oh, snatch them, get them their life together.
Right.
People. But you look at it differently. So now, because of the space that I'm in, I'm looking at it and going, I don't ever want to be like that.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I'd have been like, yes, come on, girl, I see you. Now I'm looking at it going, is that what I'm looking at when I was saying tonight?
Listen.
I'm like, wait, what's that mean? Because that's embarrassing. I need to call some people and find out, did I behave like that?
No, I'm going to be honest. What it does mean is I feel like I could watch a movie. I could catch up on a series. It feels like a waste of time, because it doesn't feel good to see, because I don't want to look like that. I don't want nobody I know to look like that. And even when I get attached to some of the characters, I feel looking like, was that check worth you looking this crazy? I don't think so. And I would think that before, but having an honest conversation of being willing to do the work, and only every individual is going to know what doing the work you need to do is. But you should be willing to take it, because we're willing to sacrifice into our jobs, relationships, all these things that we think are important, but not us. So do the work and be willing to take the sacrifices and make better decisions about what's needed to be done to pour into your cup to live the life you want to have.
Absolutely. And not only to live the life that you want to have, but it needs to be exuded out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't be help to anybody else when you struggling to be a help to yourself, because what you're going to pour into those people is the same negative stuff that you're pouring into yourself.
And I think what needs to be added to that is that's not about positioning. Being helpful is not positioning. Being helpful is not image. And I think as women, because there is a demand on criticism we get when it's not packaged a certain way,
Absolutely.
that you don't get to just be you. That doesn't mean that you get your hair done every week and your nails done every week,
Right.
and you have this great job and you flaunting your degree and your wardrobe is banging and that Fashion Nova fits and you and your soul is trash. Like,
trash, garbage, like complete
you
garbage.
can't help me. You can't help me.
You only thing you can help me with is like a discount code. That's all I can get from you. Like I'm like, oh yeah, you got a coupon for that? Cool.
Nice.
Because that's all I can get from you.
That's it.
You can tell me where to go get that matte lipstick that don't come off. Like that's all you got for me. But you can't tell me anything that I need to do to become the best version of me.
Yeah.
Because you not doing anything.
Not
to
doing
be
the work.
Best version of you. And there are some people who are what they think is the best version
Yes.
of them, but they're not doing anything. So
Yes.
they're not really the best version of you. You're not. What do you do to improve this version? And listen, there's no blueprint. There's no textbook. There's no anything. You know the things that when you do them, you look at yourself and say, I could have did better than that.
Yes.
And I was doing that. I was looking at myself and I'm going, no, you know better. And I was still doing it. Like with conviction, I was doing it. I was like, and I'm okay with it. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. I'm going to keep saying I am. Oh, okay.
Well, that works.
That works for you. Not so much because your soul is definitely sucking all of that up.
Yep.
And now you got this garbage can full of garbage inside your soul. But,
Yeah.
you know, we can keep doing this or you can cut it out. And you got to choose.
And for wherever you are in your journey, we wanted to create dialogue and conversation and give you, because we have these conversations all the time. Like this is
normal.
This is a regular Wednesday.
This is a Wednesday at around 7:30, 8 o'clock after I get off.
Yeah, this is what we like. You know, and I was thinking about myself and what I need to work on.
Absolutely.
And I think recognizing that your happiness is a journey and not a destination, and being the best phrase that I've gotten from Ariel is do work. Do the work.
Do work. Like you gotta do it. Listen, because I wasn't doing no work.
Just here.
I was just here. I was here walking around. I wasn't doing no work. And you know, you said your happiness begins inside of you, but you know how I've always felt about happiness and joy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like, you know, and I say this to people all the time, like your happiness is kind of like, it's a temporary thing. Like you can be happy when you get a gift, and you can be happy when, you know, somebody gives you that phone call and you get the butterflies in your stomach. You can be happy when you got the promotion at work. But like joy, that's a completely different level. Like that joy is like, even when something bad happens, you still okay.
Yeah.
That's when you got that joy, and can't nobody take your joy. Like you have to give joy. Joy has to be given away.
Yeah.
Like, because it's mine. It's inside of me. And if I got joy, I'm always gonna be happy.
That's
but
true.
as soon as I give away my joy, that happy gonna come and go. It's gonna be like, somebody gonna have to do something to make me happy. And that's when people say stuff like, but you're not making me happy anymore. Guess what, boo-boo?
Not their job.
Not at all. Because if you had your joy, wouldn't matter.
I
know. You got your hand raised?
Because I've been guilty.
Listen, I was the same person. And I was, and have my arms folded with my lips suited up. Like, what you mean?
That's when I'm the other version of bars. And another thing. And I come back and it's not possible. And another one.
So you just gonna keep on. Oh, okay.
And
I
it's
see you.
And it's been different. It's been different. So we plan to give you continuous installments with different topics, different themes, different subject matters, different testimonies, different experiences.
And I don't need your judgment. Okay? Because I'm going to be transparent and I'm going to tell y'all about me. And I don't need your judgment. I've judged myself enough.
I used to have a drama class I went to, and that's what they would say: leave your filter at the door. So like when you press play,
leave your filter at the door because I don't need your judgment.
We don't need any of that baggage. So
with that, this is the bye.